Hello, Big Brother fans. It is Friday, July 9th. It is day 3 in the Big Brother house, technically. We just crossed over into hour 60, I think, of the live feeds. I just did the math because I tweeted it. It is roughly 9:30 in the morning Big Brother time. I am not working today. Otherwise, I would have done one early this morning. And frankly, this is going to be another somewhat scattered Big Brother gossip CarCast, not in my car. But there's a lot to cover, and I want to make sure I cover most of the bits and pieces. I still feel like I'm catching up, and I definitely am. I have a rough idea of what's going on. What I know is that, oh my gosh, it is all over the place. Hey, look, we've got an exciting thing. We've got 16 house guests in the house. We have a former Big Brother 23 cast member who I guess took another COVID test and tested negative herself. I don't know. That's a whole other thing. I've unfollowed Christy only because she's out of the house. If she truly did test negative with her own test afterwards, that sucks. But I don't have any. What can you do? We're playing with the house guests that they gave us, and I'm sorry for her. And I hope she gets another shot if Big Brother will do that. But for now, I got to carry on and talk about the people that are in the house. So that's what I'm going to do. So right now, as I talk to you, the house guests got their wake-up call about a little bit after 9 o'clock, so most of them are up now. Before that, just a few were up. It was all the have-nots. Let's talk about, I actually wrote out a bit of a cheat sheet to try to make sure I covered most of the things. Those of you that know all this, and I know you're going to know most of this, but I'm still going to run through it. So remember, Frenchie is the head of household. The team captains were Frenchie, Whitney, Christian, and Claire. They picked their teams. We've got the Jokers, the Aces, the Kings, and the Queens. Okay. Do you know who's on each of those? Well, let me run them down again really quick. Jokers are Frenchie, Azah, Brittany, and Derek Frazier. Now, that is the Jokers. They are all safe because Frenchie won head of household. Then you have the Aces. The Aces are Whitney, Brent, Hannah, and Derek X. All right. The Kings are Christian, Alyssa, Xavier, and Sarah. Now, as we found out yesterday, they did and I'm bringing this up at this point, they did the wild card competition. I'm thinking, who competed in the wild card competition? It was Christian and I think Kyland and Hannah competed in it. And initially, they thought Hannah had won it. We're not sure all the details yet. They thought Hannah had won it, but then it turned out she didn't, and Christian ended up winning it. Christian was kind of going to be Frenchie's early target, and I'm going off the rails here. I'll get back on chart in a second. But because he won that kind of takes him off the block. And Christian, I guess, does get safety with that, and the thing he got as an extra thing was he got to save some other person. He chose to save Xavier. So Xavier and Christian are no longer eligible. So we've got Azah, Brittany, Derek, Christian, and Xavier all cannot be nominated. So that leaves... Let me finish up my team. So Queens was the last team of Claire, Kylan, Tiffany, and Travis. Okay? So Frenchie can only pick from the following people to nominate. All right? Whitney, Brent, Hannah, Derek X, Alyssa. Oh, and if my dog starts barking, I'm sorry. Sarah, Claire, Kyland, Tiffany, or Travis. Those are all the people he can pick from. Now, one of the things that Frenchie did early on the first night was tell several different groups of people that he wasn't going to go after minorities, women, or old people, even though there aren't technically any old people. They may consider Tiffany old at 40, but let's just say there's no old folks. Frenchie made a deal of saying that it was always the minorities or women that got knocked out first. He wanted to go after, he sounded like, I'm going to go after some of the bros, which to most of us watching would have been like, okay, the white bros would be Brent, Travis, and Christian. That's who we thought for sure that he was going to target, which it sounded like he was going to. It sounded like he was going to go after Christian. Problem is, Christian kind of saved himself. Now, he saved Xavier, which wasn't on his radar. Oh, he also talked about going after Showmances as another target. He said a big long list of things that he wanted to target. Problem is, yeah, well, and the ones he didn't want to target. And I will be honest, previous seasons of Big Brother, saying I'm not going to go after the minorities or women, that would have left at least, 3/4 of the guys left in the house. But this season, not so much. His options were limited. Now, he, over the course of the last 36 hours, I said 60 hours, different alliances have started to form. Now, I am not going to be able to give you all of the alliances. Some of these alliances may not even be accurate at this point, especially if we say the Slaughterhouse Alliance, which is everybody. Now, I'm going to mess up her name, but she's been following, and she's been doing alliance charts for, this is at least year 3, it may be year 4. And they remind me of the way I used to do alliance charts. I haven't done alliance charts in a long time, but I used to do alliance charts where I would basically do a hand-drawn Microsoft Paint. But she does it physically with her hand, and her handwriting is much better than mine and all that. So they look very nice, but they also aren't Photoshops or anything. They are just names and circles and things written. So it's Dolfica. I think it's Dolfica. I think that's how you say her name. But it's Dolffica. And I tweeted out her link yesterday. So she has an alliance map that she puts out every once in a while. And she put one out yesterday. And I want to go over what that list shows. But again, understand this list is not necessarily accurate anymore. It is ever-changing. And this list does not even mention Slaughterhouse on it, which is one of the big alliances, or the Butchers, which is another. These are both concoctions of Frenchie. But let's talk about the ones that kind of showed up to start with. We have the Parent Alliance, which I wasn't even aware of. But it says Frenchie, Whitney, and Tiffany. They're all the parents in the house, right? Yes, so there's all the parents in the house. This says there's a pinky swear between Whitney and Brittany, which I did see screen captured. So that happened at one point. Which is interesting because Brittany and Whitney talked again in the house in the storage room just a little bit earlier, and they didn't want to talk. And Whitney didn't want to talk about alliances, but apparently they did pinky swear, which I'd forgotten about until I just saw this. There's a question mark between Derek F and Alyssa on a final 2 with a question mark, so who knows? Another pinky swear between Azah and Brittany. So Brittany is apparently the queen of the pinky swears. There is, let's see, the trio alliance, which I didn't catch, of Azah, Hannah, and Claire. There is the, let's see, then there's one alliance of this list that's probably actually fairly accurate, which is the Cookout Alliance. Derek, Azah, Xavier, and Tiffany. Now, Hannah might get pulled into that as well. This is actually probably alliance of all the Black House guests, to be honest. That's why I think Hannah might get pulled into this. Cookout is a term that I, as a white guy, am not completely familiar with, but I guess if you're in the black community, it has a special meaning to you guys as far as what that connotates. And so calling that an alliance is definitely steering it towards one particular group of people. So, hey, you know what? Whatever works for them. But so there is the Cookout Alliance. Again, Derek, Azah, Xavier, and Tiffany. Then you have what's called the Slaughterhouse Alliance. Look, I don't even want to go all the names of that. Frenchie started the thing called this. He said, I want to have an alliance called Slaughterhouse. And it was going to be like 6 people, which some of us thought, well, no, it's only 5 people in the Slaughterhouse Alliance, right? Because it's a Kurt Vonnegut novel called Slaughterhouse 5. But I don't think that's what Frenchie was going for. He was going for Slaughterhouse and Butcher. I don't know. We'll see if Big Brother even decides to highlight that on the TV show. But Slaughterhouse ended up including so many people, there's just no point. The joke now is that it's everybody in the house is in the Slaughterhouse Alliance because he told different groups of people, different people on the Slaughterhouse Alliance, and then he would say, like, but I want a core group of people called the Butchers. So Frenchie had a grand plan, But I think much like a lot of things, when you have this grand plan outside the house and then you come into the house, things get a bit crazy and different and strange. And it's like, oh my gosh, this isn't going to work this way. And I think Frenchie's kind of figured it out. As a matter of fact, a little bit ago, Frenchie said to some of the people in the bathroom that his jaw hurts, literally, from talking so much yesterday. And he's not going to talk game at all today. Yeah, right. We know that's not going to be the case, don't we? Anyways, Frenchie is a wild, all over the map, head of household. He made all these promises, and I'm not kidding you. This is where things have ended up now after all of this stuff, because he couldn't go after Christian. He said he was going to target Derek X. Now, Derek X, remember, is the Asian gentleman. That still qualifies as a minority, folks. So I don't know how Frenchie is justifying this in his brain, but that is his current target. I do not know why he is not targeting Travis, because that is the one person that I thought he would target once Christian was off the chart, and he kind of got all buddy-buddy with Brent, which kind of removed him from a possible one. But we had Christian and Derek X and Travis kind of all hanging around a lot the first night as kind of the bros. And so I really thought he'd go after Travis, but somehow he hasn't focused in on Travis. And if somebody knows for sure exactly why, I'm sure the answer is out there. I just haven't found it or figured it out yet. So Travis seems to not be quite on Frenchie's radar. He really seems to be zoned in on Derek X. He's actually kind of really frustrated that Christian saved himself and is not eligible, which may be why his current targets... Okay, he is all yesterday afternoon. He was all about pawns. He needed a couple people to go up as pawns. I need you to go up as pawns. You're going to be safe, and you'll never. I'll take care of you. There's still if somebody doesn't use the power of veto, then the pawns stay up. Frenchie, that's not. Nobody's going to volunteer to be two people volunteer to be pawns for a back door. You really should take your target head on, unless you have multiple targets. Putting up two people as pawns, that's not how it works. Usually you put up one person as a pawn, not two. But Frenchie's talking about getting two people up. And he wants women to volunteer. He has this grand scheme in his mind that he's going to have such a shocking backdoor. He wants the person that he wants to get out to feel totally comfortable and then blindside them. But he's working way too hard at this. He also wants to call it like Dan's eulogy when he talks about this. He has a grand scheme, but some of this stuff has to just come organically, and it certainly doesn't come the very first week. So he yesterday is asking the women, I need somebody to be a pawn. I need somebody to be a pawn. I need somebody to be a pawn. And no one is stepping up. So I get up this morning, and I'm reading that, oh, look, apparently this is Frenchie's plan as of right now. Granted, it's early, and it's a long day. He looks like he may nominate Sarah and Alyssa. Now, mind you, Sarah and Alyssa are both on the same team with Christian. So, and Xavier, who's safe. Remember, Christian and Xavier are safe. So it's possible that one of the reasons that Frenchie is doing this is to kind of target Christian's team and weaken it. I don't know. We don't know. I mean, other than the fact that teams can compete at things and they get group safety, I'm not sure, but that's who he seems to be targeting. Now, his real target, he says, is Derek X. Again, remember, Derek's X. So we're talking about two women and a minority. So no matter what happens, if he were to follow through on this, Frenchie is already screwing up what he promised to make sure that it wasn't a woman or a minority that got evicted first. But the day is young. It still hasn't happened yet. But it's like, yeah, dude, it's just not going well for you. So I guess if the veto isn't used, and it's a big if, he does nominate Sarah and Alyssa, then Alyssa will be his target. Why? I'm not sure. I can only guess that possibly it's because, at least initially, people were talking, or people noticed that there may have been a potential showmance between Alyssa and Xavier, but that could have changed at this point. And one of the other things that Frenchie talked about was going against showmances. Obviously, Sarah isn't looking to be at a showmance at this point, so maybe that's why. Maybe. I don't know. It's hard to tell what's going on in Frenchie's mind, but there's a lot going on. That I know. There is a lot going on. It's just hard to tell what. So as we talk, the house guests are all mingling around. It appears they were on an inside lockdown. Probably they will be until the Power Veto competition, and probably until Sunday night after the Power Veto mess has been cleaned up. What other thoughts do I have? We are, how far are we in? 15 minutes in. All right. Hey, a good typical morning Big Brother live feed update from me, CarCast, even though, again, I'm not driving in my car. A few house comments. What I've noticed so far in the house, the house guests have commented, the upper balcony, first of all, yay, kudos to me for calling that loft. I probably already did that. But, thank you to my source that told me that there was a staircase in the backyard. Yay, thank you. You were right. And I came across as having inside info, which I kind of did. I guess I've heard a couple of different house guests comment on it that when you're up there, you can hear conversations taking place at various locations. So it's kind of one of those things in the like there's the Whispering Gallery, whatever it's called in the Capitol. There's a place where you can stand in two places, and there's a couple places. I've seen this in the Museum of Science and Industry in Chicago too, where because of the geometry of the space, the way sound moves around, that you can be standing in one location and you can hear very quiet conversations happening across the room. It sounds like there's a little bit of that going on in the layout of that upper balcony loft area, in that when you're standing up there, you can hear some of the conversations down below fairly clearly. So that, of course, they're all going to figure that out in theory. So they'll just know to be more quiet when they're downstairs, or if they see somebody go upstairs, they change what they're talking about, or however that works. So there's that comment. There's multiple chessboards. There's a chessboard upstairs in the loft area across from the head of household room. That area also there's also a chessboard downstairs outside in the backyard. But the area upstairs, I said looked fairly quiet, and people commented that you could see through the woods, so it wasn't as quiet. But actually, the couch and everything that's in there is all completely wrapped in, looks like fabric, like pillows almost on the walls. That's going to be sound deadening. That's going to quiet that space down. And plus, you have to climb up into that, and that's not open to the area below. To me, that space is going to replace the downstairs lounge that they changed back to a workout room this year. All right, that's what I'm expecting there. What other comments do I have? Speaking of the downstairs area, that bathroom door, that's just strange. That is definitely just strange to see that door there and see people opening it up to go through. It's going to give a little bit of a false sense of security to people in the bathroom, because that door will open and suddenly someone will be walking in while you're having a conversation. That kind of happened a little bit today at one point. I can't remember who was talking in the shower, but a couple people were talking near the shower, and Derek X walked in the back, and they kind of changed the conversation very slightly when he came back. But I don't know. It's interesting. It's different, and I'm okay with it. I don't hate it. That's where things stand, guys. As I've been talking, there are a couple of private conversations going on. It looks like Brittany is talking with Derek F. And in one of the bedrooms in the harbor bedroom, is that what it's called? I don't know. The most boring bedroom of the three. Oh, the have-not room. Right now, Frenchie and Christian are talking in the workout room. And we know that Christian is not very crazy about, Frenchie is not crazy about Christian. So I'm not sure what this conversation is about, but they are talking. And Brittany is dancing, and Xavier just came in with her and Derek. So yeah, there's lots of little conversations happening at this point, which I may have to use Flashback to go back and see. The have-not bedroom is what would appear to be kind of almost it's not a shipyard, but not a harbor. A harbor? I don't know. A boatyard. It's got different forms of transportation up there, and one of them is a Ski-Doo, which is kind of the one-person little boats that it rocks. So if you try to sleep on it, it's going to be very uncomfortable and not very steady. And yeah, so the have-not room is incredibly uncomfortable. Can I remind everyone again, I hate the have-nots. I'm tired of the have-nots. I'm tired of slop, but it's all back. So yeah, that's it. That's what I got, guys, for this morning. Those of you that do not have the live feeds yet, this is the time to get them. You can get 1 week free. You can go to free.bigbrotherlivefeeds.com and click on the links Actually, that'll take you right to sign up. If you go to free.bigbrotherlivefeeds.com, or you can go to bigbrothergossip.com and click on any of the banners, or just go to your favorite website if you don't want to support me. That's good. Well, one more thing. Shout outs. So I'm going to pause this, I think, for a second because I need to pull up my... Yeah, I'll be right back. One brief pause. You'll never notice it. Okay, I'm back. So I do have a Patreon account. I have had a Patreon account for a couple of years now. When did I start my Patreon account? I don't know. The oldest current patron signed up in 2018. So is this year 3 of my patron? Wow, 2018, 2019, 20. This is the 3rd year that I've had a patron account. Wow. So I have currently 14 patrons. I've added a couple of patrons. Or actually, it looks like at least one had become a patron after taking a break, which is fine. Take your breaks if you need to. It's very cool. But my current actively listed patrons, I have 14. I want to give you all a shout out. I'm going to not give one a shout out because one specifically said they want to be anonymous. So I will not mention their name, but you know who you are, anonymous person. Thank you very much. Very generous. Re-upped their patronage last night. Blew me away. They have been a patron since August of 2018. They'd taken a break, but wow, they came back and really appreciated it. So yes, the wife will appreciate that too. And I think I told you guys that I am going to take at least a good chunk of my current patronage that I have banked that I haven't received yet, and use it to pay the wedding pictures that I got when we renewed our wedding vows with Elvis this past Tuesday and out in Vegas. So, but back to my patrons. So this is my patron talk, guys. Those of you that aren't patrons, consider it. You can go to patreon.com/BBGOSSIP if you want to become a patron and support me. If not, that's okay too. I'll still be talking at you. So, but I do want to, I said everybody give them a shout out, and I hadn't done it for a while, and I'm going to give that shout out right now. Again, with the exception of the person who's asked to remain anonymous, the rest of you, first names. And so here you go, in order of when you became a patron, it looks like, and because even though some of these people have re-upped, they had been patrons in the past. So, first Chatty, then Susie, Ishara, not going to mention your name, person, thank you. Then Becky, Blake, Matt, Michael, Kim, Emily, Angela, Jacob, and I will say not the last two, actually these two, Jacob and Brandon, who are sequester players that played with me and signed up. Thank you, you two. That's very cool of both of you. Didn't expect it when they did it the other day, but it's very cool of them. And then finally, Kimberly, most recent brand new patron. Thank you, Kimberly. I have thanked every one of you individually at some point, but I am thanking you again here like I promised I would, and I will do this again later on. So I have 14 current patrons. If you would like to be a patron, just go to patreon.com/BBGOSSIP. You can sign up at any level, by the way. There are 5 levels listed, but that's just because they want you to give a level. And I put $5, $10, and $20. But all you have to do, guys, is you can select whatever level you want. Then you can put a limit on it and say, and it's only a monthly. This is not a per broadcast thing. It's a once a month you get a charge. That's it. Whatever limit you set. And you can say you're a $5 patron and then change the amount to $1. You can do that. It's very easy to do. So go in, tweak your numbers if you want to. That's the way you can do it. So I don't care. I just appreciate it. All right. So with that, I am going to sign off. I'm going to catch up on the feeds now because things are going on. I see people talking. Like right now as I'm talking to you, I see Xavier and Azah and Derek F. talking in the back bedroom. And Derek certainly seems to be holding court, so I want to hear what he has to say. Also, Whitney's got some eye things under her eyes. She's talking to Brittany. Yeah, there's stuff going on. Oh, Brittany, Whitney, and Frenchie are talking, and I bet you they're talking game, even though Frenchie said he's not going to. So I'm going to go check that out. I will get off of here. Thanks for listening. Thanks for checking it out. I will probably it is a Friday. I will probably do another CarCast tomorrow. I'm not sure I will do them every day of the week, but we are not doing the Big Brother Gossip Show this year, so I will probably at least supplement a little bit of this by doing CarCast at some point or YouTube Lives. One of those things. All right? Thanks again. Talk to you later. Be well, everybody. If you have any questions, tweet at me at BBGOSSIP, or you can send an email at ilovereality@gmail.com. Bye.